And with something like this, I was really aware that I'd looked at this process and identified that that's where I want to improve the consultant journey or the consultant workflow. But that was based on my knowledge of the situation. And I'm not sat on the sales floor every day doing the job. And so actually bringing people in to understand it, to see the tool and to see how it works and how it will benefit them wasn't just so that then when we rolled it out, we could say, well, great, you had an opportunity. It was so they had the opportunity to say whether they wanted it or not. And, you might not want to do this with every client, so I'm reluctant to say this, but the time you spent with the team was great because it meant that when we made the decision to go with it, they were already excited because they'd seen the value of it.
Yeah.
And all of those consultant things that we know will happen, because I would have definitely been it, I know a number of other consultants would have been the same. When a new tool comes in, all the consultants who go, yeah, I can do that better than that. Mm-hmm. Actually, all of those qualms, those issues with it were resolved straight away because, and fair play to you, you sat down with them and said, okay, let me prove you wrong. Let me actually see what you're saying and let's prove you wrong. And so that meant, I see the data engagement through your products now in our business is really high.
Yeah.
And that's because I believe that is because so many people were emotionally invested in getting it right. And, it's up there with one of the best rollouts we've done just because of that actually what did I do other than putting the right people in the room? They loved the product and they've then rolled it out across the business. That's great. And I'm really happy with that.
I think as well, though, that the right people in the room is important because you have people in that room that some were frustrated with how they were doing CVs, the time that it was taken. So they really were bought into actually helping them in their day to day. But then you had some people, as you say, who were, straight away, like, not a chance will I be using this. And it's hard. It was a hard sell. But I think you're absolutely right. For me, when we then go and try and roll this out, if we know them, if we know their frustrations, if we know the types of things, like is it less clicks, less scrolls, what is it that actually excites them? That's when you can do a really good rollout and, good to say. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Thank you. But it is right. Putting the naysayers in the room to say no before you've rolled it out, I think that was, I'd love to say it was a deliberate ploy. It wasn't. It was, here's the people I think you should talk to. And their engagement, actually, some of those individuals that we knew might have an issue are some of the best users of the product now. And that's because they've been able to be part of the rollout. And so they feel invested. Yeah,
I don't think I would have ever said that on the day that I came to your office, that they would have been.
No. That was, I still remember that. Here's all the names. This person's going to love it. This person's going to hate it.
At least you give me a heads up.
Yeah,
that was helpful.
That is true.
At least I knew exactly who I was dealing with, so that was good. Okay, cool. And then, so in terms of technology in general, right? There's so much out there. There is, I feel like every day I wake up and I've got a new competitor, right? To go and learn and know who they are, what they do, how they do it. So what are you doing right now with technology that's kind of fallen on your desk? Is that something that, are you open to it? Are you kind of right now looking in other directions? How are you guys doing that?
So right now, because we've rolled out 2 or 3 things recently and I'd say 3 things recently, that's kind of taken up quite a lot of time. And I think, where I'm at is let's make sure we're using those right. Let's make sure we're really improving the use of all these tools first before we go out somewhere else. There's another product or toolkit that we're looking at right now that we will be rolling out, that we will be doing. We haven't decided on the vendor yet, but that is one thing specifically that we're looking at. And then as far as I can see then, it's like, okay, great. Then I think we're set for a little while. Because otherwise, to my point on changing consultant workflow, if you just start throwing stuff in, you'll get you'll get 20% usage out of all of the tools, and the board will be saying to me, why are we spending this money on something where there's no engagement in it? And it'll be because we've just thrown a load at it. So my view is, we know this other tool that we're going to do, or this, if we look back to my workflow, that's an area we need to resolve. So we're going to do that. And then I think we'll probably take a pause. And the reason for that, to your point, you wake up with a new competitor every day, and every day I'm hearing from someone that I've never heard before, that I don't know at all, who's suddenly an expert in recruitment workflows and has a product that's going to save our business loads of money or make our consultants do this or whatever. There's so much noise in the industry, but what we've not yet seen, or what I've not seen, is something that will fundamentally change the way our consultants work and improve their day-to-day in like one sort of, it's just not there. And what I'm seeing, and we've chatted about this quite a lot over the past few months, is suddenly the company that did this now also does this, and this. And everyone is diversifying. And, I know from my recruitment days, we do data and AI because we're really bloody good at it. If someone came to us with a role that's this over there, we're not going to be as good as that agency over there at that. So I worry a little bit when companies that did this are now doing that. Okay, are you any good at it? Is that something that you can do? And when they're rolling out new products at somewhere else in the life cycle all the time, that gives me concern that it's going to be that race to get a product out, as opposed to, here's a really good product that we think will help. So we are looking at a lot, just more out of curiosity of understanding what's out there. But I would say once we've got this final piece of the jigsaw together, we're not really in a place to spend money until I see the value that something is creating. I don't think there's that many use cases yet of true AI being used successfully in recruitment. And the rec tech, it's a little bit like when data science was first a thing, suddenly all the rec tech said, oh, we employ data science, and then suddenly we employ machine learning, and now they're all built off of AI. Most of them are just a simple automation, but we're built off AI. It
sounds cool.
It sounds cool, and you can add an extra couple of pounds per month per user on your price for it. But actually, are there that many proper game changers? Not sure yet.
Yeah.
So.
I know, and I actually like what you did with when you looked at it, you looked at everything that a recruiter did in their life cycle, from the beginning of the, cycle to the end of the recruitment cycle. And you looked at, right, what could a recruiter do just to recruit, what could that person, a human only do? And then what actually could tools, tech, different things like that get involved with. And it's interesting because actually some of our other clients do that on the reverse. So when they're actually like taking tech out of their business. Yeah. So looking at that exact same life cycle, but then seeing where, if those tools aren't working, how they can then move something in that will work, or potentially you move in a new vendor that can do one or two or three things, onto your point there, which I know you're not as much of a fan of.
Yeah, maybe I'll change my opinion on that at some point.
I think it depends. I think it depends on the vendor as well.
Yeah.
I think if you see a new vendor 6 months doing 2, 3, 4 things that are just brand new to them, then yeah, you probably know, does it actually solve that problem well enough? Probably not. Whereas if somebody's been in the industry, are they just adapting, evolving to what their clients need, things like that. I think that potentially can be a difference to that.
Yeah, I do agree with that, because I'm aware that, even look at your evolution, the capture product to assist CV, recruitment and how that works. And so you're providing a different product to it. You're absolutely right. Someone who's organizations that aren't necessarily recruitment suppliers or rec tech, moving into rec tech and then moving around the workflow, that's the kind of thing I do tend to stay away from. For ages, I just had this belief that everyone in rec tech just wants to be bought by Bullhorn. And so at some point, this tool that you've developed and you're working on here and paying this much, you're now going to pay 5 times as much through your bullhorn contract for.
Yeah.
Actually, the more you're in, you've got one organization, the more you increase your risk to that.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. If everything's in one place. Some people, and again, some people like that, some people don't. It's a hard one because even sometimes when we're doing integrations, the amount of time we go out to the market, again, there's a vast majority who are happy with standalone. But then there's some people where it is absolutely baked into their day-to-day where they cannot deviate from that. It has to be, inside. It can't even be a simple API integration. It's got to be fully baked.
Yeah.
So sometimes I find it hard for a vendor, in the sense of knowing which way to go.
Yeah, I can understand that because each one of us is going to be very different. And my view there, I know disagrees with other people. I'm very much like, I don't want to be too embedded with one company, but I know there are others in our business that go, well, yeah, but makes it a bit easier. And it does, right? But equally, and on your point on it being too much in the CRM, then actually what if you want to change CRM in the future?
Exactly.
So I don't profess to be a real expert in this. I think there are probably agencies that are better tech enabled than us. I'm a very simple soul in the way I look at things, which is there a tool out there that makes our consultants' lives easier in their day-to-day work? If so, whether it's AI and automation or whatever, let's plug it in if we can, if it's the right price and all of those things. But let's not race to use the most exciting AI and shout about it just for the sake of it. It has to add value.
Yeah, it's got to have an impact.
That's it. And that's why choosing Assist CV was a really easy one for us because I could see the value straight away. On the stuff where, yes, it can screen all your candidates if you ingest them all into your CRM, well, I'm not sure I want that because the amount of data that you've got to put into your CRM to screen them, to then take back out, that's an example where I think, well, I don't know. That's a fundamental change of process for our business that I'm not sure I'm interested in.
Yeah, and I think you've got to weigh that up. Yeah. It may be shiny, it may be new, but is it actually going to have the right impact for you guys as a business?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of second mover advantage on this. Learn that something's working really well before you go.
Yeah.
You don't want to go too deep down a rabbit hole of backing something that you don't know if it works.
Yeah, and do you talk to people about that? Like, because obviously there's so many groups, right? There's so many different events that you can go to, friends, WhatsApps, all of that, right? But is that something that you would do in terms of like those people that you mentioned earlier? Yeah,
I would talk to mates about it and who are in similar roles to me, absolutely. The groups are the groups. They're useful. Sometimes they're sometimes not. And I think there's so much noise that actually I will talk to the people I trust. And so that might be a very small group of people. And, there's a lot of smaller networking events now that are really good because, you're in a smaller group. I think often those groups where there's 20, 30 people, 40, you don't know them. I'm not naturally the most outgoing in that kind of environment. I'd much rather ask someone I trust, what's your view on this? How are you solving this problem? Trust the answer I get back and go with that. Yeah,
I think I'd be the same in terms of like asking people that I know have either done it before or doing it so that, again, you can kind of just get their perspective.
That's it. And, it's a tale as old as time that the recruitment industry will have the people who are talking about how amazing they're doing when everyone else isn't. And it's also a tale of as old as time that quite often that's not true.
Yeah.
and so I'd much rather go to the people I trust and talk to them. And that does mean it's a smaller circle, but it means I really value the input.
What they're saying as well. Yeah. Right, so what is your drink of choice in a pub?
Drink of choice in a pub. Well, now, we're in central London now, and a pint is about £7.95. And I'm a northerner at heart and pretty tight. So, so Marcus in our business, who you know very well, years and years ago on a winner's trip in Miami, introduced me to a Negroni. And I remember saying to him, this is the worst thing I've ever drunk. It's so sour.
Strong.
It's so strong. What are you trying? I mean, it was 5 o'clock on a Thursday, but it was, this is really strong, Marcus. Now, I don't know at what point I matured.
You love it?
Yeah, that's one of my favourites now.
Really?
And yeah, make them at home.
That's probably even
Everything.
more expensive than a pint in London.
True, but I feel like I'm getting good value because it's 3 alcohols in it. It feels better value for me. So
Than just a pint.
£8 for a pint of Peroni versus maybe 14 quid for an. I don't know how much a Negroni is. I mean, I've got a family. The likelihood of me actually drinking in London is really low. But yeah, I feel like that's better value, and I can make them at home.
And you make them at home. Nice. A couple of quick fire questions at the end. Now, these are, I'm going to have to read them off my phone because they are pub questions and pub quiz questions. And I am the worst at pub quizzes. So we'll give it a good go. Hopefully you're better than me. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This one is EastEnders fictional neighbourhood Wolford shares the same E20 postcode as which East London area?
I should know this because my brother-in-law used to be director or producer of EastEnders.
Oh.
Walthamstow.
No.
No.
Stratford.
Stratford. Do you know what? I was going to say Stratford because I
what they all
thought about
say.
the shopping thing. I thought about Stratford and then I thought that's too far out. I feel like it's closer in. You wouldn't get a black cab to Stratford.
No? Is it not a nice area?
No, it's more, I mean, tight. It's not a long
too
way.
expensive. Right. How many times has Andy Murray won Wimbledon playing singles? The reason why you should know that is because your office is right
in
beside it.
Wimbledon.
Yeah.
He won it twice.
Correct.
Yeah. And he also won the Olympics there. I thought it was a trick question because he won the Olympics at Wimbledon.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you for a bonus? So do you know who he won against? I'll give you a clue. 2013 was against someone.
It was Djokovic.
Yeah.
And I feel like the other was like Andy Roddick.
Milos Raonic.
Okay, Raonic. Yeah, I wouldn't have got that. We could have sat here for days.
And you wouldn't have got that
never
one.
have got that. But I knew it wasn't one of the big ones.
Okay, this one threw me when Mystery didn't get it. What does IPA stand for?
India Pale Ale.
Ah, there we go. Someone got it right. Well done.
Yeah. See, ask me about booze.
Yeah, you'll get
I
it.
can get that.
Sport. You did
Sport,
well
I can
in sport.
Yeah, I can do all right in sport. Yeah, within reason. But fictional neighbourhoods of London.
Of London.
Terrible.
Not for you.
Terrible
Well,
at
at least
that.
you know where.
But now I will know that for the future. But not a big EastEnders
Fan. More of an Emmerdale guy.
Yes.
None of
Yeah,
them.
we'll go with that.